The ultimate Iron Fist has returned. And with his return, we get a lot of questions answered. As far as the history of the ultimate Iron Fist before Banner, of which we'll learn more about down the line. But this issue's definitely set up to lay the groundwork and tell us the history now that he's back, as well as why this isn't a good thing for Banner. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so coming back, this starts out by giving us a bit of a history lesson based on Sheni the Miraculous being told by Tony Stark. And it starts by saying here his name was Sheni the Miraculous, 8th wielder of the Iron Fist, master of every discipline, greatest warrior heaven would ever see. In the celestial tournaments, he easily proved himself most deadly of the immortal weapons, and his performance was so perfect, his movements so fluid, his technique so beyond reproach. Even the gods looked at him, whose name meant godlike, with respect. It was Sheni who led the forces of heaven to victory against the endless demon legions of the 8th city, and in a battle so terrible, the sun itself hit her face and the sky wept, saved the 7 cities. Later, wading through rivers of quickly clotting blood, disgusted beyond disgust, Sheni renounced violence. Amidst endless corpse mounds, man and demon thrown together in unholy union, he renounced heaven, hell, and the world. In the most remote forest of Kunlun, he found a place and closed his eyes and began to meditate. When he opened them again, 40 years had passed. Sheni found himself surrounded. They'd come from everywhere, from Kunzi and Tiger Island, from peaceful Penglai and the Kingdom of Spiders, from Zagambo and the Undercity. They were highborn and lowborn. They were seekers and ascetics and holy men, students and teachers, peasants, priests and prostitutes, merchants and farmers and warriors. They had all come to learn from the awakened one. Sheni rose and began to walk and speak, and the people followed and listened. He walked across all 7 cities, moving between worlds as easily as between rooms in a house. Sheni spoke on the self, in the illusion of the self. He spoke the path of self-extinction. He spoke of his past lives, of which he now remembered all. He spoke of the essential condition of the world, which was suffering, and the path to escape it. He preached of distrust of doctrines, of kings and princes, and of gods, where in this case he's likely talking about gods, saying how they're not subject to time like everything else. And it goes on to say here he preached against violence for entertainment's sake, against the tournaments and the schools. And again we go back to some of his teaching here with him saying, let the world be your school, let self-abnegation be your fighting style. And the narration continues here telling us wherever he went, he performed great miracles, things never done before, with chi. Long fallow fields sprung to verdant life, the sick were healed, the infertile bore strong sons and daughters, the mad found peace, word spread far and wide everywhere. People were taking up the crimson robe and the crimson headband. On his path, founded on his very footsteps, his followers built great monasteries as testament to his teachings. They called him a god, though he never claimed to be one. Word of this kind of god, who preached against the old gods, spread far and wide, until words reached the celestial ears. The gods, being gods, responded as gods so often do, with wrath. They fought for 1,000 days and 1,000 nights. They fought so furiously, the 7 celestial cities shook and mountains shattered, and the sun once more hit her face, and even the stars and the night fled in fear, so that the naked machineries of heaven filled the sky for a time. But in the end, the gods prevailed. Sheni's followers gathered once more around their dying teacher. With his last breath, he promised to one day return. And after this, we jump back to the present day with Tony telling some of the ultimates that was 10,000 years ago, and how since then Sheni's temples and teachings were burned, and that his followers were either slaughtered, imprisoned, or forcibly converted. And Tony even tells them here every record of his existence was erased from heaven and earth. His footsteps were scrubbed out with stones, but information is impossible to destroy. So of course, this has She-Hulk like, what's this 10,000 year dead holy man have to do with us? Because they need to be looking towards the future. And that's where Tony tells her about 10 years ago, rumors started spreading in heaven of a baby and a burning dragon in the sky, of spontaneous healing in the boy's presence, and man-eating tigers rolling over like newborn kittens at his feet. And that's in addition to long dead fields springing to life after the boy urinated on them. And right there, Hank's like, yeah, that's kind of gross. And Tony goes on to tell them here more recently, Banner's tried to find this kid. He searched all throughout heaven, but those of the Red Robe, or Sheni's followers, they found the kid first and they hid him. And at this point, Hank asks the question that most people are probably thinking, because he's like, if it's such a secret, then how do you know all this, Tony? And that's where Tony tells him that a few weeks back, he received a message on the UltNet with all this information and the coordinates. And at this point, they're almost there. And really, this is a great example of one of the biggest benefits of Tony moving forward to Ultimates 3.0, when Tony built the UltNet and made it accessible to your general public back in Ultimates issue 13. Because on the surface, this was obviously done as a way to inform the general public of the truth when they were frequently being fed misinformation, but it also works the other way around, because in this case, where you have a secret that's been passed down for generations and actively wiped from public record, the Ult network gives the people who know a way to share that information with the heroes who can actually do something about it, while also protecting them in the process. So next here, She-Hulk asks Tony, why would Banner be afraid of a child? So Tony tells her here, from what I understand, despite the gods' best efforts, everyone in heaven has heard the story. It's almost as old as the celestial cities themselves. Sheni, the ultimate Iron Fist, reborn to lead his people out of spiritual poverty and violence into enlightenment. Never underestimate the power of a good story. And when it comes to the reason why Banner would be afraid of a child, Tony's just like, I think he's right to be afraid. I think he knows a threat when he sees one. So right here, one of these guys steps forward and he's like, can we take a second to appreciate how beautiful it is out here? And for a moment, Hank Pym, who's out of breath like crazy, he's basically like, whose man's is this? So the guy tells him, Danny Rand, I'm a friend of Luke Cage. And I'm sure you guys remember our introduction to Danny back in issue 9. Back when Luke got his origin box, he got his powers, and he turned the prisons into a place that would actually educate and reform people. Go figure. And that's really just the short version, because later Tony had stepped in and installed tech that would give them a version of what the Maker was doing with the city, so they could accomplish more in a shorter amount of time. But yeah, when Hank puts together what Danny's saying, it all comes to him real slow. He's like, oh, a friend of Luke Cage. Like, oh, he was locked up in the... So Danny's like, yeah, man, so excuse me for admiring the view a little. Before today, I mostly saw walls, bars, and beatings. But as it stands, Danny's here because Luke insisted that Danny comes on this mission. Like, he didn't even do the Avengers program. And aside from that, he just tells Tony and everyone else here that he's a normal guy. And he came because when he heard that story, he felt like he was called to come here. Like he might be useful, or it was where he was supposed to be. But at this point, Tony's like, I think we're all where we're supposed to be, since they've reached their destination. But they find out really quick that somebody else beat them to it. Because at a first look, there's no sign of life. The place has been just destroyed, and there are bodies everywhere, both of Shang-Chi's red robes and the Children of Eternal Light. So off the rip, it's pretty obvious that this is Banner's attempt to kill the boy. But soon after, when they hear a loud crash, it lets them know that the person who did this is still here. And that's where we see Uranium Brother number 235, immortal weapon of the Hulk, taking on the last line of defense that are meant to protect the boy. And now one thing I want to point out here is when it comes to the immortal weapons of Hulk, like Uranium Brother, Decay's beautiful daughter, Fat Cobra, Prince of Meltdowns, these guys all look familiar because Banner made them Hulks. And they were already powerful as immortal weapons, but on top of that, after being converted to Hulks, or tested by Gamma, as Uranium Brother would put it, they're now insanely strong in addition to all that. So as soon as they get here and they see Uranium Brother getting ready to take this kid out, for a moment here Hank asks why are the people in white, the Hulk's people, also killed here? And I imagine they're all dead because they believed in the boy as well, which is why Uranium Brother was sent here, with Banner wanting all of the followers killed as well as the boy, who Banner claims to be a false teacher, even though we know he's the real deal. But Tony's able to protect the boy just in time, which at first has Uranium Brother like how sway, before he realizes the Ultimates are here. But what's funny is how Hank Pym, he just keeps it real. He's like, hey man, no one said anything about Hulks. I wouldn't have come if I knew there'd be Hulks. And I gotta say, you can't really blame the guy, especially after how him and everyone else found out that they all died the last time that they fought these guys. And quite literally, the only reason they're all still breathing is because Doom saved scummed just to bring them back. So yeah, really can't be mad at Hank for wanting to stay clear of these guys. But now that they're here, the priority is to protect the boy. And She-Hulk's like, yeah, either that or kill the man, because either way, you're kind of doing the same thing. But then there's a moment here where Uranium Brother, he lets them know that he's glad that he didn't kill the boy before they arrived. Because the way he sees it, it's like now he gets to kill them too. But come to find out, this time around, Tony came prepared, because he figured there was a good chance they would run into a Hulk out here. But when Tony goes to use his gamma dampeners, Uranium Brother pulls a reversal on She-Hulk, and she ends up getting hit, giving Uranium Brother a clear path to go after the boy. And even with Stark's shield still up protecting him, it only takes one hit from Uranium Brother to take those shields down. And when Uranium Brother goes for the next hit to take out the kid, Danny Rand swoops in for the save just in the nick of time. And that's where Giant Man just stomps on Uranium Brother, only for Uranium Brother to Hulk smash his way through Hank's foot. And I'm gonna tell you right now, as far as this fight, Hank's done. He's like, no. Y'all ain't telling me it was Hulks out here, bro. And in no time, dude catches Tony with a crazy kick, while telling the Ultimates that they don't have one real warrior among them. And I mean, really, just based on the way things are looking right now, dude has a very valid argument. just based on the way things are looking, just saying. But then She-Hulk approaches him, and for a moment it looks like, okay, she's about to go crazy. And then Uranium Brother rips her heart out. And he goes on to say here, to kill the boy would have been honor enough, but to kill you also? I am unworthy of the universe's gifts. I have spent time on your island with your disgusting broken people, those the Gamma judged weak and wanting. Your continued existence was all that kept them alive. When I bring my master your heart, it will be my pleasure to put your people out of their misery, one by one. And that's when LaJory just starts laughing at him, because she's not done yet. And as soon as she hits Uranium Brother, Tony lets off another payload of the Gamma dampeners. And as soon as he does, this fight becomes way more of a challenge for Uranium Brother. But also, off to the side for a really brief moment, we see Danny checking on the kid, and asking him if he's okay. And the kid tells him, I am just as I should be, Daniel Rand. And he just asks Danny like, wait, how'd you know my name? Which is like a first sign of confirmation as far as Danny feeling like he was called here. And I'm glad to see it, because from issue 9, I've been waiting to see Danny start his journey. But back over with She-Hulk and Uranium Brother, where for Uranium Brother, he's struggling more than he expected to. But when he says here, I'm the strongest, LaJory tells him, shut up. And she says here, so full of faith, but it's not faith that makes us strong. Rage makes us strong. Then she gives him a message to send to his master, because she's like, tell Banner, brother, tell your master I'm coming for my people, coming for him. Tell him I cannot be stopped or denied. Tell him there is nothing left of me but rage. Then it's right here where she's just like, you know what, never mind, I'll tell him myself, as she rips his head off. So yeah, given how much rage Ultimate She-Hulk has now, I'm curious to see how far this will take her as far as how powerful she'll get. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. And let me know in the comments if you think She-Hulk's got a shot at taking Banner, and also what you'd like to see going forward for Danny Rand. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. All right, later.